is it?
Jay.
Jay. Janet and Jay. Hi, I'm Dr. Berg-Cross, but you can call me Linda. Okay, let me just take note of your names to make sure I don't forget. Okay, Janet and Jay. Okay, it's a pleasure to meet you. How can I help you today?
Well, we came in because we're about 5-6 months along, and we were at a brunch the other day with all of our friends, and they're all having babies, and our friends got into like this huge blow-up fight, and they brought the baby, and
he stormed off with the baby, and it was just
he had to leave, and they just both looked so exhausted, and we know that like parenting.
And they never used to.
No, they used to be like so easygoing and so like in love.
Yeah.
And she just seemed so frazzled, and she got like was so upset afterwards. And you know, we talked about it, and we decided to kind of come in and talk. Maybe you know, they seemed like they needed
Did this
help.
get you worried about what you might be facing?
Person.
You don't want to be you don't want to go down that road if you can help.
And like they were always just so like level-headed, and they had like planned out the baby, you know, and you know, Marcy's a cute baby. She's a baby, you know.
How old is she?
She's about 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Tiny little thing.
Yeah, she's still pretty small, but she screamed really loud.
Oh my gosh.
She was a big screamer.
Yeah. I can't believe how loud. I think it's something that small, but it's.
I know.
And your baby is due?
She's due in about 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And do you know if it's a boy or a girl yet?
It's a girl.
It's a girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully that'll be a little easier to deal with.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming this is your first baby?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, so one big fear that you have is that it's going to put a stress on the relationship. Is that my hearing you correctly?
And they just talk so much about how like they don't sleep, they never
Yeah.
sleep, and you know, she's someone who's always really put together, and she just looked a
Yeah.
mess.
Oh my God.
Like,
yeah. It was.
She wasn't her usual coiffed self.
Yeah,
no,
No,
not
it
at
was-
all, and it's just so. It just seems like a really big change.
Yeah. No, it was, and I know that we've definitely got some challenges. You know.
Well, what kind of challenges do you think you would face having this first baby?
Well, I'm in law school right now, but I'm also I
He
work
still works
as a
full-time.
I work full time as a paralegal.
Oh, wow.
And so just I don't, and she works full time, and I don't want her to. I want to be able to help, but I'm just worried that I'm not going to be able to.
He's just away. Classes are at night.
Yeah.
Oh, how many nights a week are you at school?
3.
3.
So there's that's a lot.
And then all your homework.
Yeah.
And studying.
He's basically in school full time at night because even though he's like not off, you study
I've got to
all the
study for my
time.
tests, and I've got to
and it's law school,
write
so
my
it's
briefs, and
it's stressful.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where are you in the program? Are you first year student, second year?
I'll be getting done next December, so
Okay.
like half. I'm
All
just
right.
about
So
to
the most
get done with my
stressful
first
end
year.
will be when the baby's here,
Yeah.
as you go into this
Yeah.
last.
Yeah.
So
we try to plan it out well, but things.
Babies come.
Yeah. So.
And now, are you working now?
I am working. I work at a nonprofit full time, and we have
Okay.
long hours as is. I'm in at 8, and I'm not out till like 6 or 7. Anyway,
Okay.
which is obviously gonna. I'm in talks with my employer about how that may change and how much time I get to take off, but
Yeah.
it's the U.S., so there's maternity
Right.
leave is.
How much leave are you planning on taking?
Well, I get about 6 weeks of paid, and then I can take up to 6 weeks of unpaid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So potentially.
I think we're going to try to do that.
Yeah.
All right.
But, babies are expensive to begin with, and so it depends on how much, we try to budget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that it gets difficult.
Yeah. My friends are like, babies are like a wedding. When I get there, there's like, day of, there's a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
And do you have family, either of you, in the area?
My mom is in Bethesda.
Okay.
But was an older mom, and now she's going to be an older grandma.
Okay.
And so I I'd love, and she wants to have shuttle time about coming in, you know, but she doesn't like to drive in the city, so she takes the train in, which is fine, you know, and we live not that far
Well,
away.
I mean, the nice thing is they can both take naps at the same time.
Right.
They can though, come on.
But she could be some help, you think?
I think so. I think she thinks she can be more.
Right.
She's in her upper 70s.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay. So you don't want to
I just
ask her to do something that would be too much.
Yeah. I just worry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's realistic. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
my
how about
folks
you?
My folks are out in Colorado.
Oh, they're in Colorado. Okay.
Yeah.
All
And they
right.
I know you want to talk about coming like for the first couple.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
weeks.
she's definitely going to be here, you know, for a while. But it's, you know.
Yeah.
It's,
Also, our mother's like in the same room with their only grandchild.
Yeah. It could be.
I'm worried for everyone.
Right? I mean, the baby won't survive that.
No.
Like,
It is the first grandchild on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I have a sister who's been married a few years, and they're gonna have kids, but they haven't, you know.
Hi.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a lot.
So yes.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
So
like,
go ahead.
oh yeah, I was saying, like, if we just reversed that, everything would be perfect. Like,
Reversed it in.
yeah, if we had ours in like 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years, and then
Yeah.
we want
It'd be like, oh, it's another baby.
Right.
We better
Have
have
practice with the others,
Yeah.
right? So one thing that I hear you're worried about is just the quality of the relationship, being stressed. What other things worry you about having a newborn?
Well, I mean, there's obviously, you know, if I'm just, I don't want to be a father who's like out of the picture, you know, like I want to be involved, and I mean, part of it is that I know that it's like, you know, immediately she's going to bond with her mom, and that it takes a little more, you know, time to bond with the dad, and if I'm not there, then, you know.
Yeah.
Have you thought if you're going to breastfeed or bottle feed or?
I think we're gonna try to I'm gonna try to breastfeed. I keep
Okay.
saying like we're pregnant, but like we're gonna try to breastfeed, but
Be very active in it, as you will see. Yes, indeed.
but you know, I think we'll try for that. I just know, you know, my mom did it, and I've read all these studies. It's, you know, good to try it at least, but like don't feel bad if you can't. Blah blah.
Yeah.
You know, all my friends are like reading everything, sending me all these like attachment parenting things, and I'm just like, oh my god. So,
Yeah, right. But we're going to do a little bit of attachment parenting. I think it's really wonderful that you've come to sort of learn how to maximize the chances that you'll each get enough sleep, because if you do get enough sleep, it will make almost everything a
Yeah.
teeny bit easier.
that's one of our major
never easy.
concerns, because like we already like he's got a crazy schedule, and you know,
Yeah, trying to find date night is already.
Date night is
As it is.
yeah,
right,
and so with
right,
the baby,
right.
like if we're just gonna pass out at date night, you know,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, you might well.
so
Yes, all right. Now, what concerns do you have before? Do you have the same main
I
one
have-
about the quality of the relationship, or?
I have a lot of concerns about sleep for me, just because I'm gonna be trying to be breastfeeding, so I'm assuming that I'm gonna just be up, like, you know, with baby all night, you know, and my mom says, like, I didn't sleep through the night until I was, like, 2, and, you know, so I'm worried about that, and just being able to get back to my job, and I work for a nonprofit, but we're still, like, pretty competitive, and so, you know.
You don't want to get outside that loop.
No, and
of
if I'm
being important.
and if they, like, you know, people subconsciously, they're like, oh, I'm going to make things better for the mom, this new mom, by not giving her projects, but then I'm not, like, involved in meetings, and even now when I have my doctor's appointments, you know, he comes to them with me, which is great, but I'm not in those meetings that I'm missing, and so I can already feel it kind of slipping, but for me, like, yeah, my friend, you know, Marcy who had the baby, she fell asleep in, like a staff meeting. And she was like, you know, one, it was terrible, but two, she was so embarrassed.
Sure.
And, yeah,
How-
forgetting things, and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What type of sleepers are you now?
I mean, I'm a pretty deep sleeper.
and I'm pretty light.
Yeah. I've
You normally go to sleep when and get up when?
typically, because I'm studying, so normally, like, I'm not getting an enormous amount of sleep right now. Like, I'm usually getting like 5 or 6 hours. So
Yeah.
there is, you know, it's like I'll go to bed at like midnight and then get up at, you know, 5 or 6.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get, you know, 8 hours of sleep for me is, like, I need.
Yeah.
And so I'm usually in bed, like, a few hours before him, and then about, you know, if he gets up, though, I'm up.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're getting up basically.
Yeah, and
what
if the
time is
baby's
that?
crying, and you just sleep right through it. So that's what I'm.
Well,
not
I mean, that's one of the things. I feel like if I, biologically, I'll recognize my child's cry, and it'll be like, I wake up to my alarm.
You don't wake up to me though.
Well, you're not screaming in my
No.
face. There is. We can put the baby monitor. Like, I'll put on headphones.
Now, actually, do you live in an apartment? Do you have a separate room for the baby?
Yeah.
All right. So, and you're planning on keeping the baby where in the first few weeks of life?
Well, I mean, we're not. I'm not trying to we're not trying to co-sleep for a long period of time. But I think we have been looking into those attachments
They're very
to
good.
the bed.
They're excellent. That's the best thing to ask for in your baby shower.
We should write that down.
That
Yeah.
is. They are absolutely wonderful.
For the first few months to make sure, because when I don't want to be. I think I'm going to be lazy anyway. If getting up in the middle of the night to go into the room to breastfeed, that's not what I want to be doing. So if they're just, I think the attachment will be good. And we're trying to figure out how to get that, with our apartment and everything.
Okay, that's great.
And then eventually, we have a crib.
Yeah.
My mom gave us my old crib, and so eventually we'll move the baby
Into the crib.
Into the crib. I don't know when that's.
All right.
Yeah.
But certainly the first period with.
Yeah.
Now, before I start explaining to you sort of the program we've devised to help new parents, moms and dads, sleep better, there's a little, I think, mindset that's good to have about how you should think about your baby in relation to sleep.
Okay.
So the first thing is, have you gone through the birth classes yet?
I've done a few.
And you've been in class.
Schedules.
Okay. Did they talk to you about the fourth trimester?
A little bit. It's kind of confusing.
All right. So the baby's inside your belly.
Right.
First, second, and third trimester. Right. But then the way we evolved, our bellies just cannot get any bigger. And you will soon feel that. Okay. And so human babies are born really very immature compared to a lot of other mammals, most other mammals.
You were watching that giraffe just
Yeah,
the giraffe
walks
out.
Yeah.
Right, and follows its body. All right, we can't do that because we can't hold the giraffe baby inside of us. And so really, you should think about the first 3 months of this baby's life as the fourth trimester. It's really not born yet. And in fact, even psychologically, things like the social smile don't come till 3 months.
Yeah.
That ability to interact in the world because their nervous system has to develop, their lungs have to develop. So just the way you're caring for the baby and have very little expectation of the baby of you being able to train the baby in the belly, you should also have very little expectation that you could train this baby to do anything other than instinctively grow.
Okay.
All right? And it's just a good way to understand that phase, that you have to create a womb outside the womb for this baby. And that's your job as parents.
They talked about that in terms of the swaddling and the environment inside should be done outside, and we need to practice swaddling.
Yeah.
Right. So that when you swaddle the baby, it feels closer to being inside the womb. But and that is a big part of that fourth trimester, but a lot of it is just the expectation of how you care for a baby and what you can expect a baby to learn. Like some people will say, oh, I'm going to train my baby not to cry in the first few weeks. Or, these things, it's absolutely impossible, all right? So you just got to think it's like the womb, the fourth trimester. Did they talk, so that's the first thing to keep in mind as we do this, did they talk to you about purple crying? Okay, so let me give you a little, here's all the things we're going to go over today. Here's yours, and get your own. All right, so purple crying is an acronym, PURPLE, and it is a phenomena that describes why babies cry in the first 3 months of life. All right, that when you take home a baby, most babies, unless they're really irritable, will sleep and not cry too much the first 2 or 3 weeks because their lungs have to develop.
No.
All right, and you think you have a wonderful baby, that's so easy. And then it starts crying because it's better capable of
Is that
crying.
why you can tell the difference between like a newborn cry and
Absolutely.
like it's very distinct?
It's very distinct, yes. When a baby's first born, the crying won't bother you the first few days. I mean, it's very...
Yeah.
It's a newborn cry. It's not really. And you can see the P stands for the peak of crying, and that babies reach a peak somewhere between the second and third month. Of just cry, 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 cry. The most crying that you think you can bear will occur then. U is it's unexpected. It doesn't, you'll say, oh, is the baby hungry? What they teach you in the birth class. Is the baby wet?
Right.
Is the baby cold or too warm? Or does it have a rash?
Right.
But purple crying is, there is no reason. It just comes and goes. So if you go through the checklist that they teach you, and it's none of those things, it's the color you're wearing, okay? R is it resists soothing. So that you would want to feel, because you love this baby so much, the minute you pick it up, it's going to soothe. And for most of children's lives, that's true. But during the period of purple crying, even though they will feel better being on you and having skin contact, they're going to keep crying and being irritable because they're just very hard to soothe. And their face, the other P, is going to look like their face is in pain, but they're really not in pain. It's long-lasting. Now, some babies who go through intense periods, this might be like your friend has, you know, where a baby can cry an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah, it was ongoing, and then they had to go.
Some babies cry, you know, very little. They don't have an intense purple crying period, but some babies, it's very bad. And E, in the evening, it's the worst. So this will be when you're coming home or at school, when you're alone, after a whole day with the baby, all right? And
So
that's the witching hour.
Is it like sunset time? Like
Sunset, well, it's very interesting. I don't know if it's a chronobiological thing, but they normally say, between about 4 and 8, those hours. 5, it's usually when you're trying to make dinner. So somewhere about 5 to 8, or when you're truly tired. And probably the baby's tired too from whatever day it's had.
And now one of my friends told me that like if I don't wear deodorant, like, or if I like wash it off, that the actual natural scent will help calm the child.
That's right. You shouldn't wear deodorant when you first have a baby.
Don't tell them that.
Right.
It's very soothing. And you see,
I'm not
when
going to
you
turn
leave
into
the
a
baby,
hippie.
when you leave the baby at daycare, you should leave a sweaty, whatever you have, Mom.
Good Lord.
People don't like to do it, but the baby first recognizes its mother by odor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, it is okay. Now, I don't know, maybe the baby learns to detect deodorant.
Right.
It's an odor too, right? But clearly the body scent babies, that's part of why they find the parents' contact more soothing than the strangers. Because they bond first with the odor. Okay. So, and the third, so you have to, one, you know that you're going to have this little thing come out that you're going to have to care for like it's in the womb. But unlike being in the womb, it's going to be very noisy, and you're not going to be able to take care of it in the way you think you should. But really, in reality, just holding the baby and knowing that it's going through this period is all you have to do. You just can't personalize it, okay? And then the third thing you have to know about babies, and it sounds like your program went this, is the idea of attachment parenting. And that's the idea that in this first 3 months, body contact is really very, very important. All right. So people worry, am I going to spoil the baby if I rock the baby to sleep? Well, that's true if the baby's 8 months old.
Right.
It's not true the first 3 months of life. All right. When you're in this 4th trimester, you don't want the baby feeling deserted. You don't want, about cortisol levels, its stress level. You don't want its stress level to go up because if a baby feels abandoned, it'll start producing cortisol because it's afraid. and that actually interferes with how the neurons connect in the brain and grow. So, again, it's very hard, but if you need a rest, it's okay if the baby puts out a little cortisol. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
The idea is in the long run to save yourself that you can parent as effectively as you can. Okay? So, given that, how can we help you sleep? So I gave you this little description, okay? And this is called the SOS program for new parents.
Help.
Yeah, right. And the SOS program has 3 goals. 1, we want to prevent postpartum depression.
Okay.
We don't want moms to get depressed. 2, we want you to be as successful as you can be in nursing if you choose to nurse. And 3, we want the quality of the relationship to survive. Because if you look at marital happiness, it's up here, you know, then you have a baby and it goes here. All right? It's one of the most stressful years in a marriage is the first year you have a baby. So,
Is that true of all the babies or just the first one?
the first one's the worst, actually, in terms of the stress, although 2 is a lot more than 1. All right? I guess after a certain point, you have your routine.
Right.
But that shock of going from having just the 2 of you to worry about and take care of to having this new living thing to take care
Yeah,
of.
my friend was just like, it's never your time, it's never just your own time anymore.
That's right. That's right. Even taking a shower or a bath is
Right.
a luxury that has to be meted out.
Yeah.
All right? Especially when you don't have a lot of full-time help
Right.
and family around.
Right.
And you guys are going to be in that situation where you're going to have to sort of help each other and modulate it. So the SOS, there are 3 components to it. And it's another acronym like the purple crying. And you can see there's 3 numbers here that you have to remember. 2, 4, 5. So we were going to call it the 2, 4, 5 program. But we call it SOS. Okay? So the first component of this program is the idea that you are going to shift when you go to bed. You guys are you're very lucky. You already have that part of the program going for you because you're going to bed at different times. Ideally, you want to go to bed at least 2 hours different. Do you do that
Pretty
now?
much what we do now.
All right. So that, and you have a routine where you're going to bed first and you're going to bed second.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
given your schedule, some couples shift. And again, you might see, if you ever want to stay up, you might try that on the weekend where you go to bed early and you go to bed. All right. But we can, once I describe the program, we'll talk about all the problems you guys will have implementing it, and we'll try to customize it. Okay? All right. So what does this do? The person who is up, 2 hours later is going to get to sleep 2 hours more on the other end because they're truly shifting their sleep time.
Okay.
All right? But when you're up that 2 hours studying, if the baby cries, you are the W on call. Not only are you on call, so you'd be here, this green,
The late show.
awake and on call,
Okay.
all right? And then you're awake and on call. But then the next 3 hours you go to sleep. So let's say from 10 to 12 you're studying. Anything that happens with the baby, and I'll talk about when you're nursing in a minute, okay? You're going to take care of. However, when you go to sleep, till 3 o'clock in the morning, you're on call. Then you get to sleep for 5 hours uninterrupted. And that is the bare minimum a person needs.
Yeah.
All right, you can't. Most people cannot function if they don't get at least 5 hours. Now, how you take care of the baby is completely up to you. This is your chance to bond with the baby, and you said you were worried about being involved. One nice thing about this program is you're playing an important part in caring for the baby and bonding with the baby without interruption. Each person does what they feel comfortable with the baby, and that's actually good for the baby.
Yeah.
So let's see what's happening with you up here. You're going to go to sleep at 10. You're in the red.
Okay.
You have 5 hours of sleep uninterrupted till 3 in the morning.
Okay.
At that point, for the next 3 hours, you're on call, but you're sleeping.
Okay.
So maybe if the baby doesn't get up, you could have 8 hours sleep. And the same with you. When you go to sleep, the baby, you might have just taken care of the baby, and normally you do it around midnight or 12:30. You're going to get most nights more than 5 hours with the system, okay? But I'm just assuming that you're on call the entire time every night, and that's not going to happen. So you're getting your sustained sleep in the beginning, then you're on call for 3 hours, and you're getting up 2 hours earlier, and you're on call, okay? So we have shifting sleep for the S, 2-hour shift, 3 hours on call, and 5 hours of sustained sleep. Now, the other part of this program is that during the day, you should each try, and you'd have to do it at lunch, or when you get in the car to go to school, just put your head down, try to get a power nap of 20 minutes. On the weekend, each of you should take a nap as long as you want. All right? One of you takes Saturday, one of you takes Sunday, or you can, if you have a short nap, you may want to. It's a catch-up time.
Okay.
Okay? Now,
does your body work like that? Like you can bank your sleep in the week, or?
Actually, within a week you can, and your body really needs it, because you will, even with this program, probably many weeks have a sleep debt. And it is a debt. You have to pay your body back.
Okay.
It's like, yes.
Okay.
So if you wait a month, you obviously,
right.
You have a permanent depletion in your body. But during the week, there'll be nights there could be a bad night for whatever reason. You can't go back to sleep. All these issues that occur, you might find yourself sleeping 5 hours on a weekend. A nap in the morning and a nap in the afternoon. That's good. But the thing is, if you're both that tired, how to regroup.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a good time for your mom to come, is during those times when you're going to allot yourself a big nap.
Yeah.
You'll be able to nap those when the baby is napping, those first few weeks that you're home, and you will use that. All right. So you'll be getting extra naps in. Now, let me talk a minute about nursing, and then we'll take all your questions, okay? If you're nursing, and you've got this little sidebar, which I recommend.
I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
So then you hear the baby, you're going to have a let-down reflex within a few days. The milk's going to be spritzing out. Believe me, you're going to want to take that baby and put it on the breast.
Yeah.
You can keep your eyes closed. You can't see the baby at night. You don't want any lights on, really. If you have a night light, keep it really like a low night light.
Okay.
So you're going to be sitting there, you're nursing the baby, okay? Takes about 20 minutes. Some people do 10 minutes on each breast. Some people do one breast one time and the other breast the other time.
We haven't really started,
Yeah, you'll see what the baby wants.
Okay.
All right? The baby will more or less, and you'll see your own comfort in your sides. And the milk production sometimes different on the two sides. But the minute you get done, you poke him.
Okay.
Because even though you've spent 20 minutes nursing, there's another half hour about to happen, all right? For most babies.
Okay.
You have to go change the diaper. You've got to, maybe the baby isn't going to be put down right away. You're going to rock it. You don't want it to interfere with her sleep.
This is when I'm in the red, right? Or when I'm
you're in the red, right.
So
You're in the red zone here. Now, come 3 o'clock in the morning, the baby wakes up. You're going to nurse it, and then it's on you. Then you're going to get up. Normally you change the baby whenever it nurses.
Right.
All right. But then you rock the baby, and then you might have to go to the bathroom, and then, you need a glass of water. Yeah, things happen. It's not, people think, I'll feed the baby in 15 minutes and go to sleep. And sometimes that'll happen, but most times it will not. Because even to change the baby, you got to get to the change table. It all takes time. All right, but so let's go with why wouldn't this work for you? Where do you see problems? And
the thing that I'm most concerned about is that if I'm, if I'm going to be getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning,
But you're supposed to sleep till 7.
no, you're sleeping till 8 a.m.
Oh, I know, but if I've got to get up to go to work.
At what time do you get up? That's the problem.
Yeah,
You're getting up early,
Yeah.
usually.
How
Well,
early?
Normally, I mean, I've got to be to work at like 9, but then with, like traffic and all that.
How long does it take you?
You try to leave at like 7:30.
Yeah, I try to give myself an hour and a half to get
And
there.
you like your time to
I
get your
do,
coffee
because
and
I don't function well if I can't,
Yeah.
like I feel all frazzled all day.
He's usually up at like 6:30
Yeah,
or maybe 6.
yeah, generally 6.
All right.
So it's just how would
So
that
yeah,
work?
so let's say we had to shift you to waking up at 7. Maybe you could wake up at 7. It means you have to start this routine at 11, and you'd have to go to sleep at 9.
No.
Now that sounds early, but when you have the baby,
No.
it won't be early.
Yeah.
You'll probably be able to go to sleep pretty easy.
And I'll be home at like 6, so I'll
Yeah.
been with her for 3 hours. And
Right, and again, we don't know when she's going to be going to sleep
Yeah.
in this thing, when she's up, her.
yeah.
In
So
the beginning,
as far
it's
as
18 hours a day. I mean, then
yeah,
it's mostly sleep.
in your experience, and I haven't even broached this subject with work because I think I wasn't even
Yeah.
like thinking about this. But do you have any experience with like discussing moving like my schedule at work
Yes.
into a different
Do you
place?
think they would do that?
Well, I don't know. Like
Like
what?
an
Like
hour, half an hour?
yeah, like
Many
an
people
hour.
do.
When you get
Especially-
back, what about your classes? On the back end on those days.
Oh.
But he could on the days.
You could on Tuesday and
Tuesday and
Thursdays.
Thursdays I could do that.
You could do that, but
So you may need to shift the schedule so that on the school days you're going to go to sleep at 11. On the non-school days you're studying more,
yeah.
but
You already
going
know.
into work later for those 3 months
Yeah.
and staying a bit later.
Yeah.
And
And it
just-
isn't permanent. It'll be
Yeah.
3-4 months.
Yeah, the important thing is to get those in this program, and because in sleep, you can see you don't want to fall asleep at work, okay?
No.
You need 5 hours, and because you're saying that's right, even now, but you're going to be more fatigued because, again, your sleep isn't going to be as deep.
Mm-hmm.
Might be, but your sleep is definitely not going to be.
No, and I even if he's gonna have to wake up for the baby, I'm a light sleeper. I'll wake up.
Yeah.
No matter
Mhm.
what. Like if he gets up out of the bed, I wake up.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Right. So, yes. And you're going to be sensitive to the nice thing about this little bassinet thing
Mhm.
attached is if the baby is making little sounds, many new parents jump up and look at the baby.
Mhm.
And this way, all you have to do is put your hand on it. All right? Babies wake up every hour.
Yeah.
That's their rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay? An adult, to go through all the sleep stages,
Mhm.
takes you about 90 minutes.
Mhm.
Some people 2 hours. But it's very natural for a baby to wake up every 45, 60 minutes, and they'll make a little noise, but you'll notice it.
Okay.
All right? So if they're in another room or in a bassinet in your room, even though you tell people don't look,
They do.
the maternal urge and paternal urge is pretty strong.
Plus we like trying to keep the baby alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
let me say one thing: don't use monitors. If are you in an apartment?
Yeah.
You don't need a monitor. You can. I'm sure you're going to get it.
We
and
were
I'm
at
sure
Target
you use it.
O'Day, and they were like $300 with
Well,
a
there were
video
cameras,
and
It's crazy.
It's
But
nuts.
it makes people hyper. It's like
Yeah.
putting the volume on high. Again, babies making noise is very natural.
Mhm.
All right, so you want the baby to make noise and get up and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
It has to learn that cycle.
To do that by itself.
But by the time it's 3 months old, it'll in the beginning it doesn't know day from night.
Mhm.
But by the time clearly 2 months, 3 months, it's understanding every baby's different. Not that it's going to sleep at night, but at least understands it's nighttime.
Yeah.
All right. So, but you're going to have to play around with this. What I would suggest is that you spend some time this week talking about it and writing a list of all the questions, and I'll see you one more time as when it gets much closer to the baby.
Okay. I do have one concern, like during this time that he's sleeping but on call,
Yes.
and I'm supposed to be sleeping,
Yes.
he's gonna he's a really deep sleeper, and I'm gonna wake up first.
Yeah, but that's okay. Poke him, and you will be so tired you will hopefully go back, or at least you'll be resting.
Okay.
No, you may have to.
Okay.
You may have to. Or,
Yeah.
again, some people can't shift sides of the beds, but if you can shift sides of the beds, he'll be on the side, and he'll just hand the baby over to you to nurse. You have to get up to.
Yeah, is there, I mean, have you found that, like, people that are deep sleepers, will they, like,
Is
learn?
he gonna change?
Well, no,
Some
I mean,
don't. Some
it's just, but you would, like I was saying with the alarm, like, I've taught myself over my lifetime to wake up to an alarm,
This would be totally new, though.
Well,
this would be
yeah,
totally
but
different.
I just sort of,
you do.
I sort of hope that,
I
I'll
hope
get
too.
to know, like, my child's
You
cry.
will. Men also put out progesterone when the baby is, there are these great studies you can look up online. Testosterone plummets for fathers who are stay-at-home fathers for young babies. All right? I mean, so they took the extreme case, somebody who's really the caretaker.
Oh, yeah.
But that's evolution. We have to have the right biological set to take care of this baby. So you indeed may find yourself much more responsive than you've ever
I
been.
hope you are.
Yeah, well, I do too.
Then you have to plan for both, okay?
Yeah.
Do you have any other immediate questions?
What about, I just want, like, when she's, supposed to be asleep, is it okay if we use, like, a bottle instead of breastfeeding while she's supposed to be sleeping?
Yes, let me just say, and this we can talk a lot as you get closer and get more into the nursing. If you want your baby to be able to do both, it is very important that you start giving the bottle from the minute it's born, or it will only like your nipples.
Okay.
All right? Babies develop a strong preference very, very, very quickly.
Okay. How do we do that?
You want just to have, now some people say, some people say, I'm not going to get involved pumping. I'm home.
Right.
You can use formula. Baby's still getting a lot of breast milk.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about that 1 or 2 feedings that it's getting at night.
Mm-hmm.
Many a child is going to healthy on formula, and it's getting a lot of breast milk.
Yeah.
All right. If you want to pump
Mm-hmm.
and store it, then you have that milk, and you just stick it in the baby warmer. That's more time though. So you have to go to the refrigerator. You have to warm it up. That takes 4 minutes. So sometimes it's too hot. You have to ditch it. You made it too hot. They do have timers, and you could give it to the baby. But if you're going to do both, it really pays to start in the very, very beginning. There's also all the La Leche leagues, the people who help you breastfeed. They have 24-hour hotlines. They're very, very helpful.
They have 24-hour hotlines.
They do. Awesome. They do at the hospital. You call the hospital where the baby's going to be delivered, and they'll be on call, the lactation people.
Okay.
So that,
Yeah. I mean, I think if my mom saw us give our newborn a bottle, she might flip out. Right. But we'll get to keep her away from it.
So it'll be the middle of the night.
Yeah, we just won't tell her. So I think that'd be fine. Plus, like, it will help you kind of bond with it,
It also, if it's formula, your body will get used to not producing that milk at night.
Okay.
If your breasts are full, you're going to want a nurse or pump or do something because it's an uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
All right. And you don't want to get a breast infection. I mean, the milk is there; you've got to come out.
Yeah.
So, but all of this, there are many burps, but this is what having a baby is about, right? The good and the bad and the ugly and the cute.
Let's give it cute.
And girls are easier than boys.
Yeah.
So maybe.
I just remember my friend was like changing. I was changing my friend's baby diaper, and he peed on me. And I was like, I don't have to worry about that one, girl. And then no problem.
That's fine.
Okay. Well, this was very nice meeting both of you. And again, don't hesitate. You can email me.
Okay.
All right. My card's outside. Just take it. It has the email. Write down your questions.
Okay.
and you might go on the internet and look for things, and you'll find all types of. The big thing you have is on these days, you have to see what work can do, and you have to see.
What do you have suggestions like how to approach them about that, or?
Yes, I think the way to approach it is to simply say, your wife is taking off 3 months. You want to make sure that the baby's off to a good start. You're only taking off whatever, a week, a day, whatever it is.
It's gonna be long.
You'd really appreciate it if they could do the flex time on those 2 days.
It can be,
For 12 weeks.
it's not that long.
Yeah.
And then, sure, you're not the only one having a baby.
Right.
Right. No, and then, exactly. Again, talk to them. What I would do is talk to somebody about the likelihood of talking about it.
Right.
Ask
Yeah.
people and get a feel of how people are doing the flex. But nowadays, people are a lot more. Again, for 12 weeks, talking 24 one-hour shifts, and you'll be a more productive worker. I mean, that's the other way to approach it, is I really want to be able to be maximally effective when I'm at work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And they're invested in you, because so he's going to law school now, and he's working at the place that kind of said, like,
Yeah, once I get my
done,
degree, once I pass the
they
bar,
kinda-
then
we'll take him on.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
I think they like you.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm excited for both of you.
Great. Thank you
Sounds
so much for
like
answering all of our questions.
Yeah.
I know
Oh,
we
well,
spent a lot.
great.
yeah. Any other questions? As it gets closer, you'll have a lot more, and you'll. But you're doing it. This is a good way. And let me just say, many couples like to try this system in the last month, so that it's very natural to them. But
Like before the babies.
you're already doing the biggest part is the shift,
Yeah, I mean, that's already.
so you don't have to worry. Okay.
Good.
Nice
Thank you.
meeting you.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
so much.
All right. I'll be talking to you in 2 months, I guess,
All
or
right.
something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.